What's going on, everybody? Doctor of Social Work students with USC, social media, Facebook, um, Twitter, YouTube, all that. I'm doing this for school, and but I want to also create value. I didn't want to hoard information to not benefit other people. So, anyways, I'm Adam Castro. I'm a Doctor of Social Work student. I served over 8 years in the Navy. I deployed 4 times in support of combat operations. So I'm in Iraq and Iraq, OIF, Operation Iraqi Freedom, and Operation Enduring Freedom veteran. I have also deployed individual augmentee as part of those 4 deployments. So as a Navy veteran, I got pretty diverse experience. Um, my individual augmentee tour consists of collaborating, working with Army. So I got some Army training in there. So that was pretty cool. And then my last duty station was Assault Craft Unit 5 at Camp Pendleton. So I got some Marine culture in there too. Um, so a lot of my military experiences really encouraged me to uh, coming to the helping profession. It attracted me to that field, and also working with the military and veteran community, which I identify with. So uh, taking advantage of the GI Bill benefits really helped me out. Have the courage to pursue my career and going forward. So I want to tell you, I want to talk a little bit more about what got me here, and some of the problems I saw with the military was um, just this real um, the culture of the military was created a major barrier for a lot of people with accessing care, asking for help. The norms of the military are not to ask for help, suck it up, drink water, drive on, stuff like that. It's not popular to complain. You could be easily perceived as weak. And so, like in the service, like I saw some people who especially could have benefited from help, but like they totally missed that, overlooked it, just drive on, look forward, don't look back. Um, a lot of like some of the research that I do, I was trying to find uh, information on like people who have been NJP. Well, I can find like the amount of people of discharges per se, like unfavorable discharges, like other honorable discharge, general discharges, stuff like that. But like what you won't find is maybe like the story behind that, or what happened to them, or why they got in trouble again. Um, Military is federal, so a lot of this stuff falls under Freedom of Information Act. So it's very safely guarded. Um, just like in the media, there was that um, one person who got in trouble, I think, for domestics in the service, and then he gets out, commits a crime with a weapon. But if you have domestic violence charges, you're not supposed to have a weapon. But the military didn't communicate with state, but federal is above state, and so that's why a lot of stuff in the federal system and the federal military side, if you got in trouble there, a lot of times it just stays there. It's with the military record, or it'll be played out into your discharge papers under certain different characteristics of discharges. So, I mean, there's a lot of room for abuse of power in the military. Like, a commander doesn't really need that much evidence to charge somebody. They just don't. And so, if you're suspected or whatever, and there's a good chance you're probably guilty, but however, that whole process is traumatic in itself. And if you go through that process and to understand, like, I think it's very hard to wrap your head around understanding like what that's like for people, and then you get out, like maybe you'll that'll be the process of getting you out of the service, the non-judicial punishment, and charging you with some sort of misconduct stuff, that might be an avenue that may take with getting somebody processed out of the service. However, um, that's not always the case. So some people still do stay, but then some people like end up in this chain of repetitive problems. So it's really easy to like mess up, to get depressed about the fact that you messed up, and to keep messing up again. So, um, and it's really important uh, um, to to reflect on that. I think, um, because like when somebody gets in trouble, like your whole social dynamic, your whole set social network can change. Like as to like how people perceive you, like people that were your friends are not your friends anymore. Leaders that you respected or you trusted, like you may no longer trust them anymore because they may have been part of the process of getting you in trouble. So like the relationship dynamics kind of change, and you have to live with these people, like whether you like it or not. So it's very easy to get caught in a rut and to continue to stay there and kind of spiral and just keep messing up. So like a lot of those people that I feel like a lot of those people could have benefited from getting help, but often didn't. Like they often just didn't get help, just because it wasn't a priority to the military. Mission first, self last is like kind of the motto of the military. Self-sacrifice, all that stuff. So it's kind of like, rub some dirt on it, don't mess up again, and hopefully it works out for you. And if it doesn't, then they send you on your way. They do what they gotta do with you. Um, so the military is very self-serving in that respect. They really take advantage. Um, and like just reflecting on like this, just to put this like whole war into context. Um, like this war, like if you were born in 2002, right? You could be, or like let's say around 9/11. If you were born around 9/11, you could be going into the military today. So they're like, just to put that into context, like just imagine like being born and then like just your whole life has been nothing but like the country that's at war, and then you go to war. And another thing, like back to that, like how people can like end up going to war. Um, I think the society has this misconception about like why people join the military, and like yeah, I mean there was like certain times in history when people like stepped up to the plate when like the country really needed people to serve. However, like I think there's a kind of a shift now, and there's probably more people joining the military out of like having a better life. Now just imagine like having to join the military for a better life, to go to war. Like you're going to war to have a better life than what's going on at home. Think about that. So, um, these things kind of concern me. So I think it's like we really gotta look at like the social economic like welfare of the people. Like what are these people like going through that end up coming into the military? So like 80% of veterans have experienced adverse childhood experiences. 80%. That just blows me away. So these are like people who have been traumatized. Maybe they come from foster families. Maybe they've been in trouble. Maybe they got misconduct issues. Whatever it is. But there's like things going on in communities throughout the nation that are really problematic. And then they're joining the military. Then they get exposed to like more hardships, more trauma, whatever it is. And then it's like now you're more at risk for like chronic mental health issues, maybe chronic PTSD symptoms, and stuff that's just like and mental health functioning is just the the problems are just going to kind of be more apparent and kind of stay with you, for those that go through that, who've had childhood problems. So, and I think it's really important that the military recognize that more, and like if they want the perfect service member, they should do more about society and the general welfare of the public, because these people will eventually, these children will eventually become adults, be your community leaders. They will be, uh, uh, they will join the military possibly. They could be just first responders, all that. So, and then also like not to mention like there's a lot of service members who become first responders because it's kind of like a paramilitary organization. There's a chain of command, there's a uniform, and military service members are very familiar with that type of lifestyle and that structure. And so it's very easy to kind of maybe go back to that or lean on that, especially if you need a sense of direction. And so I see like why service members end up becoming first responders. And so maybe you had like adverse childhood experiences, then you got traumatized in the military, and then you got more trauma because maybe you're a police officer and you're cleaning up stuff like on the daily. You're putting out fires all the time. So like one of the problems, like the major problem that I see with the military is policy and stigma act as barriers for help seeking in the military as a preventive a measure that could be being used. And so like the military really misses this piece, I feel, because like it's like, I mean, the popular thing is to say like get help, yeah, like if you need help, get help, but it's really not that simple, because you have to rely on your leadership to do the right thing. You have to rely on your peers to back you up, and a lot of times it's just not going to happen, because then you'll have to miss work if you need to seek help, and you probably get ridiculed for it, and it'll build resentment with other coworkers in the military. So it'll just be an issue. Um, but like back to like policy, like where policy is harmful in the military. I want to say over like a 5-year time span between, it was like around 2002 to 2007, about 30,000 people in the service were pushed out of the military under the personality disorder diagnosis. And you just can't stay in the military if you have that diagnosis. Like, you can't. And there's room for like a provider to mess up too. Providers aren't perfect, but they're qualified, so that's how they get in, and that's why they do what they do. They get to do what they do. But so like a provider can misdiagnose, underdiagnose, overdiagnose, and cause harm. They just can. And I think that's the reason why like there's more of a dialogue going on now with like the DoD incorporating like a legal team in that process if they're looking at possibly like med boarding somebody, or there's this diagnosis that flagged them. Like, is that accurate? Is it going to cause like harm to your career? And should there be like another opinion, another like second opinion, or like another opportunity to state your case, and maybe you present with these symptoms but you're high functioning, or maybe you should have a different diagnosis. So anyways, like I feel like probably in the past, as far as providers in the military, like they're probably just like, if you got a diagnosis that was a death sentence to your career, then there probably wasn't a lot of oversight with that. And I think that's part of the problem too, is that so really like the providers, they just have like a lot of power, and it's just like boom, if they stamped you with this and it was something that can get you processed out, and that was it. Just like one person had to say so, like, and that was it. And also, I want to say in the military, commands had like it was a little bit overreaching, I think, at some point where there was a lack of confidentiality between provider and commander in the military, and I believe that they were able to talk at some point. But now there's policy in place where it reduces that communication, and commanders are supposed to support people with getting help. So that was something that was kind of new, I think, done in the last maybe probably about 2 years. Um, so commanders are supposed to support those underneath them with mental health. However, like most of the time, you will not work directly for the commander. There is a whole chain of command. There's all these departments that fall under that commander, and I see room for abuse in that area. So I think I think it's a band-aid to the current problem. I don't think it's a fix. Like that policy that came out, and I doubt like all the commanders even know that policy is out there in the service. So anyways, the beat goes on, and social media is starting to be looked at too now, especially with like behavior, suicide risks. They might be looking for Facebook might be starting to scan for like high risk people. It might just be like keywords. I don't know how it's gonna go, but it looks like they're collaborating with like suicide prevention organizations, and so like that's good. Like, cause suicide is just like a national crisis situation, health problem right now, and the military is kind of falls into that area as well. Um, very common, like it's not everybody knows, but it's kind of common knowledge in the veteran community. The 22 veteran suicides per day that occur, or 20. Let's just say 20 to 22, because like recent data shows something a little bit different. But it's like that number is just too high. Like I don't see how that's okay at all. And if you're a veteran, if you're a service member, or even a civilian, or somebody who cares like about the military and veteran community, like say something, like tell your congressman, write your elected official that you're not okay with that. just for the fact that if we stay silent and keep our heads down, it's the same as agreeing that everything's fine. And then the powers that be will just continue to take you in the direction that you don't want to go. So if you don't like what's going on, you gotta say something. You gotta do something. So, but I don't want to encourage anybody to do something that's gonna put themselves at risk. So just play by the rules if you're gonna advocate for anything that you're passionate about. Um, so recent stuff that's going on. So I work for the vet center as a social worker. I've been doing that over 3 years, post MSW 2015, and so the VA is collaborating with like American Legion, VFW, military organizations, and also Walmart. And the reason why is to really try to capture some of the folks that live in like rural areas, who have like maybe difficulty accessing VA healthcare, accessing VA healthcare facilities. So what they'll be is like the system that is there that can like you can ask, I guess, get with a live person, like video teleconference. There'll be private rooms and the system that you can interact with and whatever it's simple questions or primary care or mental health. Like you can talk to a live person there on the spot. Now I think it's so new that I don't know enough about it, and I think there's probably more to come, and that's going to be something that's going to be like developing in the future. But I think that's really cool how the American Legion, the VFW, Walmart also as well is jump in there. However, I think that's very good PR work on behalf of Walmart because also they get away with cheap labor and stuff like that. So, anyways, I can see where they jumped in there, and also pharmacy. So maybe they'll get VA money filling prescriptions and stuff like that, and products and things that can benefit the VA community, the veteran community. So, I mean, yeah, I see it as it's a good thing, but I don't think it's entirely Walmart going. We're 100% doing it just because for the right reason. I don't know about that. There's probably something in it for them. But one interesting thing I found out was that there's like on average there's a Walmart like 10 miles away, but a VA facility is more likely to be a lot further for somebody. So there's a better chance that Walmart is closer to you. So and then so that's where Walmart comes in, and then this um, availability with technology to have that interaction and communicate with the VA when needed, and not necessarily need to go drive like 100 miles to the VA if you live in the country in the mountains or whatever it is, and you're just really far away. Help seeking is just not the norm in the military, and it's very very difficult to like undo that. I think the longer you stay in the military, the probably more concrete it is to like break out of that. And it's just one of those things that's easier said than done. Um, like 50% of veterans like don't use like anything from the VA, like nothing, like no VA benefits, no VA healthcare, none of it. About 20 million vets throughout the nation, and about 10 million get some form of VA benefit. 30% out of that 20 million get VA healthcare. Only 30%. The other 20 I want to say is VA benefits, and they may not mess with like VA healthcare or anything like that, or both, right? So if you look at half, they're either getting VA healthcare, VA benefits, or both. The other half is not doing anything, and so that could be like a variety of reasons behind that. Part of that might be eligibility. So like everybody's in a different eligibility criteria. Some people have copays, some people don't. And this is like if you haven't been a consumer or provider, it's very hard to understand this stuff. So, and I don't even understand all the criteria for eligibility. I just know some of the barriers that come with eligibility and enrollment with VA healthcare. So I do know this. The VA service connection, the disability stuff, can also help with eligibility, gaining access to healthcare, help with medications, educational benefits, and and besides the monetary gain, you can get all that. Um, and yeah, so like service connection can mean that make the difference between having a copay or not having a copay. Some people get their income held against them. You make too much money, sorry, or you make too much money and you have a copay. But then they look at their other benefits they have, and so maybe their private stuff might be better. So they just go, well, forget it. You know, maybe the military had a bad taste, gave them a bad taste in their mouth, and then on the civilian side, they just kind of look at the VA as something similar to that system, and it just kind of spills over. We look at the Vietnam community, and that's exactly what happened. Um, the VA wasn't ready to receive them when they got out. A lot of hurt feelings in that community, and like they're retirees now, like just getting started with the VA because maybe a friend of theirs said like, hey, you should go give them another chance, and some of them do, and some of them are happy about that, and there's gonna be some where or not, but it just depends. Also, with the younger generation of vets, it's like, yeah, you have the culture of the military and how that kind of spills over into civilian life. Well, that whole suck it up and mission first stuff is helpful for the military, but it doesn't help you on the side as a veteran. So, like, it really needs to start with the military, and that's key. Like, it needs to, and because that has to be undone in order to help these vets out, like transition out of the service, become successful in civilian life, to be successful veterans. That needs to be addressed. That is a big slap in the face to like the military service members and veterans across the board. I feel if we can be an award like this long, then how the hell are we not like able to make counseling a priority out? How are we not able to do more? Have more providers, have more help. Like the military is still, to a degree, maybe not all the way there, like still approaches mental health from like the World War II era, with like they don't necessarily want to like treat somebody as like the sick individual. Like they want to treat you as like somebody um who like needs rest. Like you need a break, you need to step away from your normal routine, or you need some like intensive treatment, and then get you back out there. Like you just need rest, and you'll be fine. And that's cool in the military, and for maybe like shorter wars, shorter conflicts. But this is different. This is different. This is lifelong. This is no ending in sight. So, I mean, if we're going to be in a different type of conflict, we need a different type of approach entirely with how we deal with service members and the resources that are available to them, and policy is all part of that. So, it's really like necessary to have more, to do more, to be more engaged with this community. So, um, with like in school, like my target, my aim is to leverage technology for social good with the military and veteran population, and by using like video teleconference um, to engage them with mental health. Um, Too many people are falling through the cracks. Working at the vet center, I see people fall through the cracks all the time. That's kind of how they end up in my office sometimes, and that really concerns me to like the core. And some of the stuff I see is just like it could have been prevented. It could have, but the military as a system wants to lean on the VA, and that's not fair to a service member when the service member has never been conditioned to or has like zero understanding of how to navigate that process. The whole week-long transitioning class program is like a wash, pretty much. I feel like that needs to kind of start at the beginning of the military, to really reduce some of the barriers that they have, and rather than just throwing like a week-long class in there, flooding with information, and saying good luck, don't let the door hit you on the way out. I don't really think that's fair, and I don't think that's the way to handle that. But anyways, again, like I was saying, I'm doing this for class, and also I wanted to put this out there because I wanted to create value for people, for the military, for the veterans. If you see this on social media, feel free to comment, like, comment, share. Um, Please help me create awareness. Um, also, like, just know if you're watching this, like, if you're a service member, veteran, or like spouse, like military family, and like I know the family members, like they get looked over the time, and it's not fair. Like, there's 1 million spouses out there, and like we don't hear about the spouses, and like a lot of the problems that like military and veterans have, like, it spills over into the household. So there's like, besides like the 22 veterans a day committing suicide, like it's like the impact is much larger because we don't see like what's behind that individual. So like, just like, I want everyone to know that like there are people that understand the challenges that the military and veteran people go through, the military and veteran community goes through, and please like just utilize your resources and network. Like that is like the key thing. Just network like crazy. Talk to people in the military and veteran community. I know on Facebook there's like 4 million users who are the makeup of is like the 4 million users on Facebook are military and veterans. Um, so those people are in groups, they're communicating stuff like that, and like join a group, join like network dialogue, have dialogue, get resources that you need, because I know like there's really not enough being done for this community, for this population, even though there is a lot, but there are also a lot of like consumers, and there are a lot of like veterans that they're gonna get out. Like there's 250,000 service members getting out like just about every year. I don't even know if like the VA is ready for that, and with where everything is going. So, anyways, like I appreciate you all. I hope you enjoyed this video, some of the takeaways, and um, yeah, just I appreciate everybody for watching. I appreciate everybody for listening, and please feel free to share, to create awareness, and to have that dialogue if needed. So anyways, I hope everyone is well. I wish everyone a happy holiday who's watching this video. Take care and fight on.